Runic King, Chapter 1. There is a world that is dominated by monsters, where the strong rule over the weak, and those with more than 60% rune spirit have a chance to become a rune master. Here we meet our protagonist, whose rune spirit is only at 27%, in this harsh world where the strong hunt the weak, sometimes even the hunters become the hunted. A purple electric eagle is regarded as the ruler of the skies, and an A-rank rune beast, unfortunately, appears and attacks the eagle with its tremendous purple electric current. Our protagonist Dongzi, who is a rune sniper at high school, attempts to take the monster out, but misses his shots too. His schoolmate and his rune sword partners disbelieve. His partner is also a high school student. The firing continues, but only serves to agitate the monster further, and the bullets don't even seem to be doing any damage until he looks down, his scope, takes aim, and hits a great shot that takes the monster out. As the monster plummets smashing into the ground, we learn that the monster had only one weak spot, and that everything had been planned out to make the monster expose its weak spot. Just as they start to celebrate their victory, Dongzi's senses pick something up, and he feels the eyes of another dangerous predator watching him, hunting him from the shadows. With a mighty roar that breaks the silence, and with one mighty swipe of its paw, the monster eliminated Feng Rui from the test. As Feng Rui's body dissipates, it leaves behind 2 rune stones that drop to the ground where he had just been standing. Dongzi quickly aims down his scope, identifying the beast as a horned white wolf, B-ranked rune beast, that has the speed of a wolf and the defense and strength of a rhino. Dongzi takes a shot, but quickly realizes that the new monster's frontal defense is much stronger than that of the purple eagles, so he uses his agility to try to jump around and get a better angle whilst firing continuously at his new adversary. The wolf is just so fast that it keeps tracking him, and he is barely keeping ahead of it, and his bullets are just not strong enough to pierce its hide. He notices some cables sticking out of the concrete roof and takes another impressive shot, snapping the cable, causing the roof to collapse onto the horned wolf, trapping it under the rubble. He looks around and notices the 2 rune stones. One was a runic weapon, and the other a runic talisman. Knowing his gun and bullets were of no use, he activated the weapon, which turned out to be a sword, and boosted its power with the talisman. He then took a mighty swing and ended his test. He achieved an S rank, while his partner achieved a C ranking. Dongzi's body then starts to slowly dissipate as well, and we get to see the transition from the virtual world into a room full of pods, and they are all being monitored by an exam invigilator. Many of the students are upset by the additional question, which was the hidden monster, and complain to each other about how it affected their grades. This is where we meet the demoness, who has the highest rune spirit in their class, and she's in disbelief that our protagonist managed to beat her score, as he was the only student who managed to beat the horned wolf. Some of the other students try to bully and pick on Dongzi, but the demoness quickly stands up for him, and as she can access 92% of her runic power, they all very quickly back down. Our protagonist, however, is still at only 27%. Chapter 2. It started in the year 2030, when humans were unaware of the impending catastrophe. Wormholes started opening up all across the world's skies, spewing out meteors, devastating the surface of the Earth, and over the course of 3 months decimating 70% of the Earth's population. This was just the beginning, and after the meteor rain came the violent ruin monsters, who were ruthless in hunting down the surviving population. Conventional weapons were of no use against these monsters, but out of the ashes, rune hunters appeared with the ability to harness their runic powers, and they banded together, fought the monsters, and built a rune barrier, and a safe place for humans to live. We jump back to our protagonist, who is doing a shady job for extra money on the side. Whilst on his way to his destination, his luck runs out, and he runs straight into a roadblock. He takes evasive maneuvers to avoid being caught, and being on an agile little scooter, he zips into some side alleys to try and lose the cops and quickly manages to do so. His luck quickly runs out again, and his front tire slips on a banana peel, flipping him and his cargo onto the street. The goods in the box have flown out and are lying on the street, and he sees that they are monster eggs. He packs them back into the container and sees that one of them is missing. He looks around and sees it in the garbage, but as he lifts it, he realizes that he is in even more trouble as the egg has hatched. His senses kick in, and he dodges an attack instinctively. Spinning around, he sees a C-rank bone-piercing spider. Chapter 3. Dongzi pulls his knife out and crouches facing the monster, staring into its piercing purple eyes as it tracks him, waiting to attack. The monster shoots out some webbing at Dongzi, who dodges and stabs the spider directly in its head. Unfortunately, conventional weapons don't stand a chance against rune monsters, not even newly hatched ones. The monster retaliates, and Dongzi turns to the only skill he can, and turns tail, and starts to run away at full speed. The bone-piercing spider shoots out a web and blocks his escape route, and then quickly shoots out another, and manages to catch Dongzi's foot with its sticky webbing. The monster drags him towards his doom, and then disables the helpless Dongzi, who just lays there by stabbing him and tying him to the light pole to eat later. While hanging from the streetlight, Dongzi initially starts feeling sorry for himself, but then he gets angry and decides to defy fate. Then he gets a system prompt asking him if he is willing to accept the system and let it help him to decide his own fate. He quickly decides and accepts the system, swearing to get revenge for his parents. The system downloads and then heals his body, as more and more screens start popping up. Just like in some games, one even has stats showing him his different stats, and giving him some new attribute points to distribute, which he does, pumping them all into strength. The system also gives him a daily mission to defeat the bone-piercing spider for a reward. He instantly feels the new strength coursing through his body, and even though he is stronger than ever before, he knows that this strength won't be enough to defeat the monster. He remembers its weakness to fire, and that he somehow needs to take advantage of it. Remembering his bike runs on fuel, he hatches up a plan. He gets close enough to be able to knock the bike over to spill the fuel out. He also knows the monster has bad eyesight, but it sensed vibrations. Using this knowledge, he then taunts the spider into attacking the fuel that had spilled out of the bike. Once the spider has fallen for the trap, he flicks his lighter to life and throws his lighter toward the fuel. Chapter 4. When Dongzi returned home with the remaining 2 rune monster eggs, he at first considered cooking them due to the enhancements eating them offered, but quickly rejected the idea at the thought of the bone-piercing spider boiling in a pot. As he entered the apartment, he was greeted by his younger sister. She noticed his dirty, roughed-up appearance and grew concerned, but Dongzi just brushed it off as a small bike fall and started changing. She noticed that her big brother's physical condition had improved and started teasing him mercilessly about it. He got all embarrassed and started demanding, wanting to know where she learned that kind of stuff from. She showed him a romance novel, which he confiscated, but before she could start sulking, he pulled out an expensive toy to give her. We then learn that Dongzi is also trying to earn money to be able to afford the cure so that his sister can walk again, since she lost the ability to walk the day the wormholes opened. Dongzi knows they are lucky to have survived, but with the system, he can now become a rune master, as they are the richest people of this era. They get great benefits from joining the military, start as VPs in companies, and earn huge salaries, and the hunters themselves create teams to go into the wilds to hunt monsters and sell their catches for millions. Back at Dongzi's job, we find a very unpleasant scene where his boss and co-workers are being beaten up by gangsters looking for their lost cargo. These are not the type of men to double-cross or lose their precious cargo. Dongzi's boss knows that he would never steal from him and tells the gangsters that the cops must have pulled him over. This only angers the gang leader even more. Dongzi's boss begs for a day and promises to resolve the issue. The gang leader isn't interested and wants to resolve the problem himself. He beats the details out of Dongzi's boss, who does eventually give them up. The gang leader then instructs his 2 very imposing goons to go and sort the issue out. Chapter 5. Dongzi leaves for school the next morning, warning his sister not to open the door for anyone and promising to make her favorite meal. On his way to school, we see someone following Dongzi from the alleys. Dongzi grabs the stalker's arm, but he turns out to be his friend, who had just used the bathroom in the alleyway. As they near the entrance to the school, we see the 2 gangster underlings from yesterday blocking the school entrance. Dongzi knows straight away that they are there for him and decides to try and avoid them. However, once he sees them harassing his friend the demoness, he jumps into action and smashes a brick into the larger gangster's head. Although the brick does appear to have hurt the gangster slightly, the demoness shouts at Dongzi to run, knowing that he is no match for them, but at the same time giving up who he is. The smaller gangster tries to catch him, but after Dongzi's attribute upgrades, he is able to evade and even counterattack. The bigger gangster, seeing that the demoness and Dongzi are friends, thinks she would make a good hostage, not knowing that she is way stronger than Dongzi, and when he goes to grab her, she lets him have it. The gangsters decide playtime is over and reveal that they are F-rank rune masters and get ready to attack. Suddenly, out of nowhere, they both get a thump on the back of the head. In an outrage, they twist around to confront this new offender, only to come face to face with Zhao Wu Dai, who just happens to be an E-rank rune master. Chapter 6. With just 3 weeks left till the college entrance exam, we see words of encouragement strewn across the school. A teacher calls on Don Z to share his knowledge of the runestones with the class, where he goes into some detail, breaking them down into 3 parts. He starts with the red ones, explaining about inscriptions and embedding them into weapons, and then actually turning them into weapons themselves. He then moves on to the blue runestones, which are also inscribed but are used to activate skills. Lastly, he moves on to the green runestones, which are the opposite of the red ones, as they work on armor, shields, and other items that red runestones don't work on. We now find out that of the 3 exams, the 2 that Dongzi excelled in only count for 30% of the total mark. So with a rune spirit of only 27%, he has no chance of passing and becoming a rune master. The school bully has enough to pass, and he and his goons start making snide comments, but Dongzi's friends quickly jump in and start mocking the bully, as he won't be hunting or joining the army, but hiding safely in the city. The demoness challenges him, but he knows he is no match for her, and he quickly runs away and threatens to make them all pay. Dongzi decides he would like to take the demoness up on her offer as a practice, but in the virtual space, all 3 friends jump into a large virtual forest, which is the perfect battlefield for Dongzi, who is a sniper with excellent hiding and stealth skills, but the demoness has something great on her side. Bait. Dongzi fires a warning shot to make Feng Rui stay out of the match. The demoness pulls out her weapon and activates the 2 skill stones in her weapon. The first skill is a quick dodge, which lets her evade the next shot and spot where Dongzi is hiding. She then activates her second skill, which is a wide-angle slash, and obliterates the tree Dongzi is hiding in. While he is falling to the ground, we see Dongzi activate his skill Insta-Aim, and with this skill active, he manages to hit the match-ending blow against his opponent, ending the match. Dongzi knows in the real world, the match would have ended very differently with the difference in their rune spirit power. Chapter 7. Dongzi exits his capsule only to find the creepy bully pouring water onto the demoness's capsule, which is electrocuting her. Dongzi is enraged and accuses the bully of trying to kill her, but the bully is so self-centered, and because she didn't die, he blames the whole thing on her for being bossy, just because she has the highest rune spirit in the school. Unable to control himself, and in complete disbelief at the bully's words, Dongzi attacks and knocks the bully onto his ass, threatening to finally teach him a long overdue lesson. The teachers arrive and manage to stop the fight before things get too out of hand, and the bully manages to limp away with the help of his friends and continue to threaten Dongzi. The teacher checked the demoness while the guys explain what happened to her. The demoness turns out to be okay, but the teacher explains that the bully's parents are well connected, and things may not go well for Dongzi, and that despite the facts due to his low rune spirit power and lack of support, things may go bad for him. Dongzi knows how the world works and decides to leave the school and figure out what to do, but with his low rune spirit, his friends can't see a way for him to achieve his dreams. The gangster and his goons arrive at Dongzi's apartment building, and because they got a bit of a beating the day before at the school, the goons want to bring in some reinforcements to back them up. However, this just enrages the boss, as he can't believe how incompetent his crew is. When they reach the right apartment, they guess correctly that Dongzi's sister is home alone and believe getting in would be easy. They started by pretending to be from the city and wanting to check the water meter, but she quickly outsmarts the goons, telling them the meter is outside. Next, like she might be a complete idiot, they pretend to be delivery men with a parcel for her, but she tells them to merely leave it at the door. Finally, they pretend to be from a local club looking for new members, and she just declines the offer outright. Now at this time, the boss has had enough, and just kicks the door in, and again moans about how unlucky he is to be stuck with such underperforming goons. The boss immediately starts interrogating Dongzi's sister, and finds out that she's adopted, but has no idea where the monster eggs are. The boss takes a look around the apartment and sees her brand new toy, and takes the opportunity to use it to threaten and scare her with it. And just at that moment, Dongzi steps through the doorway looking just a little bit furious. Chapter 8. The goons instantly recognize Dongzi, and shout out a warning to the boss, letting him know the boss, wasting no time, points his knife at Dongzi's sister, and threatens to harm her if Dongzi doesn't hand over the monster egg. Dongzi quickly reads the situation and tells the boss where the monster eggs are. The boss shouts at his goons to go and retrieve the monster eggs from the place Dongzi has told them he hid them, and they quickly make their way to the room with the eggs in them and retrieve them for the boss. They present the box to the boss, who opens it only to see that one of the monster eggs is missing. He demands to know where it is, and Dongzi tells him that it hatched, but he doesn't believe him, and tells him that the buyer is the minister's son, and that if he didn't return the egg, his sister's life was forfeit. The boss raises his knife to Dongzi's sister's throat in a threatening manner, but she isn't scared. It takes a great big bite of his hand. The boss quickly retaliates with his other hand, and tries to punch Dongzi's sister, but faster than we can follow. Dongzi jumps past and grabs his baby sister, pulling her out of danger. Then the boss's goons also try to grab him, but he dodges again, avoiding another serious injury. The goon realizes that Dongzi is even faster than earlier that morning outside the school, and we see that Dongzi received a potion from completing the daily mission. When his stats screen pops up, we see that his rune spirit is now at 71%, and his agility has jumped to 19. Dongzi then continues to dodge the goon's attempts to hit him with ease, and after doing this for a while, the goon runs out of steam, and just can't seem to keep up as his stamina has run out. The boss's patience runs out yet again, and he pulls a red rune stone from his pocket, getting ready to take care of Dongzi himself. The boss's rune stone turns into a gun, which he points at Dongzi, knowing he shouldn't be able to dodge bullets, and demands his missing egg back. The boss believes that the monster eggs are the key to his future, as making the minister's son happy can only mean good things for him, and even though raising the beast in the city is illegal, those with power get away with whatever they want. Just then, on the other side of the room, Dongzi's sister notices one of the eggs starting to hatch, and tries desperately to get her brother's attention, but this only angers the short-tempered boss, till he also notices that another egg is hatching, which can't be good news for him. This time we see a C-rank dark-scaled viper, which is a rather strong beast compared to a full-grown adult E-rank beast. The boss starts firing at the beast straight away, but in his panic and haste, doesn't manage to hit the beast's weak spot, which only works to anger the beast even more, and it attacks the boss in revenge. Dongzi, seeing the boss and monster starting to fight, wants to use the distraction to get away with his sister, as he knows that he is no match for this C-rank monster, as he barely managed to defeat the bone-piercing spider the day before. The monster has other ideas, and notices them trying to sneak away, and blocks their escape route, diving right in front of them, but then it starts to act weird, and does not immediately attack them. Dongzi looks down at his sister, who appears to be controlling the creature, which means she could very possibly be a beast tamer. Chapter 9. Dongzi quickly manages to identify the dark-scaled viper's weakness, but knowing it without a weapon was useless. So instead, he tries to get his sister to use her powers to make the monster attack the boss and his goons. On the other side of the apartment, the boss and the goons decide it's time to make their escape, and we see the monster powering up its attack, aiming directly at Dongzi and his sister. The gangsters also see this and know they won't survive the attack. The next instant, the boss ducks, just missing a direct hit from the monster's powerful attack, which is so powerful it blows the walls out, and people on the street start to panic. Dongzi looks down and sees that his sister has passed out from using her power and exhausting herself. The boss, who managed to dodge most of the attack, looks a bit ridiculous with his new hairstyle, just starts letting loose and firing his weapon indiscriminately at the dark-scaled viper, and after multiple shots, one finally hits the weak spot. The boss is even madder now, though, because now he has lost 2 eggs, and in his mind, it's all Dongzi's fault. He is ready to take revenge when we hear someone at the door calling out for Dongzi and his sister. The boss is ready to take the death toll from 2 to 3, and turns around only to spot our E-ranked rune master from earlier that morning. The boss, recognizing who the E-rank rune master is, quickly transforming his weapon back into a rune stone. The boss explains that they are just there checking on the kids, but his not-so-bright goons contradict him, to which the boss quickly reacts by shutting his goons up with a powerful punch to the face. The E-ranker recognizes the boss as well, and warns him that Dongzi and his sister are under his and the Marshal Hall's protection. The boss quickly goes into cover-up mode and tells the E-ranker that they are just there to give Dongzi some money. He then thinks of some great punishment for the larger goon's failures, and tells him to give Dongzi some money. When the goon says he doesn't have any, the boss tells him to use the money he just got for his salary. The goons tries to protest, but he can't disobey his boss and starts to hand over his hard-earned cash to Dongzi, who just can't stop smiling. As the gangsters leave, the boss leaves a not-so-subtle threat warning that they would be back. The E-ranker notices Dongzi's sister's state and inquires about her condition, but Dongzi brushes it off, as he doesn't feel that the time is right to reveal his sister's powers. But he doesn't have to worry, as the body of the dark-scaled viper catches the E-ranker's attention, taking it off Dongzi's sister. Dongzi feels that it is safe enough to reveal the secret of the monster eggs, showing that there is still one left, and the E-ranker goes on to tell Dongzi that he has made another powerful enemy with even more powerful friends, and that his life just got even more complicated. Chapter 10. We find ourselves at the Jiaoshi Martial Hall, which is where Dongzi trains his fighting skills and tests the strength and limit of his power. He chooses a special punching bag and hits it with all his power. It then presents him with a readout of his strength, which shows that he is currently hitting at 5 times his body weight, which is even better than a professional boxer. A call from his teacher breaks his musings, and the teacher asks him to come into the school. He is rather excited about the call, as there are only 18 days left till the entrance exam happens, and he needs to get back to school to train and learn for the exams. The E-ranker Zhao notices Dongzi leaving and asks him about his strength properties, but Dongzi is a bit flippant and tells him to go look himself. He thinks Dongzi is being rude, but goes over to look and is shocked at the results, as they show that Dongzi has broken through what is supposed to be the limits of the human body. We get a good look at Dongzi's attributes and see his growth, and that he has grown to level 5 now, but everyone still thinks his rune spirit is still just 27% though. Dongzi makes it back to the school, and upon entering the room sees a lot of people in the room, not just his teacher. He is still in high spirits, and just wants to get back to class to be able to continue his education. The disciplinary master has other plans though and tells Dongzi that he is expelled, and Dongzi can't believe the injustice of it all. But then, as always, his low rune spirit and how the world really works come to light. Dongzi is about to lose his temper when his teacher reminds him to not just think of himself and remember that he has other responsibilities. Dongzi instantly understands and puts his sister's future ahead of his own and decides to leave the school. The school bully can't resist the chance to take a dig at Dongzi, mocking his courage, not realizing that Dongzi hasn't given up completely, but is still holding on to his dream of becoming a rune master. Now we see the bully's father step in and also try to break Dongzi, and we see where the bully gets his nature from, as Dongzi can't complete in the ceremony to become a rune master because he has been expelled. Dongzi doesn't let them see that they have gotten to him, but as he leaves the room, he knows that the bully's father is right, and that he will not be able to take part in the ceremony of awakening if he is not part of the school and passed his exams. Dongzi's friends chase after him and can't believe that he has been treated so unfairly. They plead with him not to give up and know that there has to be a way to help, and the demoness decides that she knows someone who can help them, and it's her dad, who just happens to be our E-ranker, Zhao. Zhao knows that even with his reputation and power, that even he can't get Dongzi back into the school, as the bully's parents also have power and sway. But Zhao knows of another way for Dongzi to be able to achieve his goal of becoming a rune master. He goes on to explain that even if someone has more than 60% rune spirit, it doesn't guarantee that they will become a rune master. As at the awakening ceremony, a person gets one chance to activate their powers, and that even one failure means you don't become a rune master. Those that fail don't always like to admit defeat, so they try a different way by using an item called awakening medicine. To be continued. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing, and also leaving a comment telling me what you enjoyed and what could be better. Thanks all.